sisters. This is Jen and welcome to the 11:11 morning meditation. Good morning, Will. Good morning, Joanne Brody. And so yes, we're going to be doing a very, very powerful 11:11 morning meditation. And good morning, Rohan, at 6:10 a.m. in New York City. And so in this meditation, we're going to be specifically focused on activating our light bodies. So we're going to be basically communicating with our subconscious mind because obviously the subconscious mind is the storehouse of all intelligence in the body. So we're going to be communicating with the subconscious mind, and we're going to be sending it specific codes. Good morning, Alexandra. We're going to be sending it specific codes to that it will then send to our DNA to start informing our DNA that now it's about time. It's about time that we started like really transmuting from carbon to crystalline, or do you know what I mean? So it's 11:11 now, brothers and sisters. We've got 17 of you on the call. Hi Julia. So I would just like to now just invite you all now at 11:11 a.m. UK time, just to find yourself in a really comfortable position and just take some nice deep breaths. Just close your eyes and take some nice deep breaths. Just breathing in through your navel center. And as you breathe out, just relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your jaw, just bringing your awareness to where your body is in contact with the floor or the chair or the bed. And really allowing yourself to be held and carried in this moment. On the next out breath, just surrendering even deeper to the knowing that you are being carried. You are being guarded over. You are being infinitely protected. On the next out breath, visualizing a cord coming out of our root center. And send this grounding cord now deep into the core of Mother Earth. And like a white snake, feel it wrapping itself tightly around the core of New Earth. Today we are grounding into New Earth, which already exists as a fifth dimensional interface, which we are able to attune to at will. Attuning your consciousness to the fifth dimensional New Earth template as we collectively ground our energies on this new empowered grid. Send your grounding cord deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper. Just get a group of grounding into New Earth as we are sending our grounding cord into the depths of the core of New Earth. Just get a sense of all these beautiful wild white lilies are bursting forth into the New Earth gardens. Just get a sense of these beautiful wild lilies, white lilies, just popping up all around the New Earth grid as we are working symbiotically and harmoniously with the fifth dimensional New Earth grid currently. As you send your grounding cord deeper and deeper, visualize it wrapping itself very tightly around the core of New Earth, Mother Earth. And as you do that, visualize more and more wild lilies bursting forth onto the fields and the gardens of the new earth. And these lilies are bridging us vibrationally from the third dimensional grid to the fifth dimensional grid. Just know this to be so. Keep on grounding yourself into new earth. And this time as we ground, observe that the lilies have become rainbow lilies. Exquisite wild rainbow lilies. They're popping up everywhere. As the fifth dimensional grid is being prepared now for all of us en masse to enter into as a collective consciousness, as a collective species. And now, beloveds, just take a moment to find yourself in a beautiful place in nature, in the new earth, in the new fifth dimensional earth. Visualize yourself being in a beautiful place in nature, or it could be your garden, it could be the mountains. Just take a moment to acclimatise yourself to this exquisite spot. Notice the electric blue sky and the white fluffy clouds and the birds of paradise flying all around, singing their sweet songs. And as you are sitting there in your favourite spot in the new earth, just visualise yourself sitting in a meditative position. And now observe that there is an extremely powerful, almost like 1,000,000 watt light that is emanating from your third eye. Just attune now to this light. Like a white sphere. Just really align your consciousness now with this powerful white light in your third eye. And just notice that as you are doing that, as you are placing all of your attention upon this white sphere of light on your third eye, just observe now that as you look down at your skin tone, please observe that it is now shimmering. There are crystalline light particles that are shimmering on the surface of your skin. They are rainbow in hue, and they are very, very joyful. Just get a sense of yourself looking down at your hands and your arms, and noticing that your skin tone is transforming. And where it appeared to be rather solid, it is now becoming slightly more translucent. Let's get a sense of this. But yet, while still fully being in your physical body. Just notice this. And now look down at your feet and your toes. You can observe the same phenomena. And this phenomena is being activated specifically by this white light in your third eye, which governs this transition from carbon to crystalline. All of these instructions are held within the pituitary and pineal gland. And as we Visualize this white sphere of light. We are profoundly empowering and activating these two very, very essential ascension glands. Just got a sense of your feet now becoming more and more lighter, with like sparkly dust particles. Keep breathing very, very deeply as we are sending these very, very important instructions to our DNA now. That we are very much on our timeline of this transition from carbon to crystalline. Now just tune into the sensations of your whole entire body and notice that there is, well, what do you notice? What are you noticing? Does your body feel more electrical? Does it feel quite buzzy? Just really get a sense now of this activation occurring and this transformation occurring. And get a sense now that this is occurring within the whole physical bodily structure. That there has been a shift in the outer skin. It's now very crystalline and powdery. As our bodies are becoming lighter and lighter. Able to navigate these multidimensional realms with ease and grace and mastery. Now as you are sitting in this wonderful spot in 5D New Earth, we are going to now give the body some instructions on how to dematerialize and materialize. So I invite you now to observe in front of you there is a white house. And together we are going to dematerialize our bodies and rematerialize in these white houses. So just take a deep breath in. And just observe that this white sphere of light in your third eye, which is very, very, very bright, is now beginning to get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And as it becomes like a dot, please observe your physical body has now become completely transparent. And on the count of 3, that dot will be gone. And we will rematerialize in this white building. 1, 2, 3. And now just visualize yourself reforming, restructuring in this beautiful white cabin. Just invite you now to just take a deep breath in and just breathe out a tone. And as you are toning, visualize this white light becoming, in your third eye, becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. Take a deep breath. Breathe out and just really feel yourself now forming and structuring in this white building. Send one more breath now to really intensify this white light in your third eye. And just wriggle your hands and get a sense of your hands materializing. And now just get a sense of the profound sense of accomplishment that you have dematerialized and materialized in a new location, and that you did it, and that your body is equipped with the technology to do this. We are infinite beings, and these spacesuits that we have all been gifted in are blessed and graced beyond our wildest imaginings. They are multi-dimensional spacesuits that were designed for us to travel freely around this spectacular multiverse, to even beyond our universe. And all of the technology is stored within the Ascension glands in our body. Bring your palms together now, just rub your palms. And as you are rubbing, really, really empower this template, this crystalline template, this new earth template that we as a collective species are evolving towards. And now bring your palms just above your eyes and give your inner child many, many blessings right now. Send him or her all of the love Mother, Father, God holds for him or her. It is your job to send forth that love to your inner child. Place your hands on your heart. And send out a prayer of gratitude to our Creator for creating these most spectacular spacesuits for us to traverse the multiverse. Please know we are all so deeply and infinitely blessed, and our light body is constructed entirely upon our beliefs, and it is imperative that we weed out all false, limited beliefs and programmings that have been part of the artificial prison matrix of the third dimension. This is not the truth of who we are. We are infinite, free beings, and there are no limitations except those that we believe. I invite you to become an empty vessel, an empty channel, entirely freed of all false, limited programming, that you may align swiftly and proficiently with your own crystalline vessel. This 11:11 morning meditation is now complete, brothers and sisters. There's no rush to come back, but I invite you very slowly to just start wriggling your fingers, wriggling your toes. And just bringing yourself back in a nice, very, very, very gentle way. And if anyone feels to, let me know how that was for you. I'll try and get this camera to not be so wobbly and wonky. It's been so tough to be myself with all this conditioning. Yes, it has, hasn't it, Robert? And it's almost harder for the divine masculine. Thanks, love. You guys are beautiful. Thanks for facilitating this. It's been so tough to be myself with all this conditioning. But you know, Robert, it's like you get to choose. You are an empowered sovereign being. You get to choose your beliefs. You choose your beliefs. I choose my beliefs. Hi, Anna. Oh, Carissa says, that was awesome. Thank you, Jen. I enjoyed swaying and holding hands with everyone in the White House. It's beautiful. Ah, who's sad? I don't feel sad. I feel wonderful today. I've had an amazing weekend. And it's pleasant to see the end of it. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. So, yeah, I mean, that is the name of the game. It's just clearing out all of these limited programmings, you know, these false ideas about who we are. You know, it's not true. We are all limitless beings. We are all infinite and limitless beings, and we have to claim that. You know, no one's going to give it to you. No one, like, you're not going to meet like a teacher or someone and they're going to say, oh, here you go, here's your unlimited beliefs. You have to claim it, and that is what sovereignty is all about. Sovereignty is about claiming. Do you know what I mean? It's like the best way to explain sovereignty. I'll just turn that off a sec. The best way to explain sovereignty is like, you know, we are all offspring of Mother, Father, God, of Prime Creator. And so we are all just automatically receive the inheritance of our birthright as the fact that we are children of the Most High, of the Divine. So when we are all born, we're all born with a crown, with a sacred crown that exists in our aura. And what happens is we incarnate into this world and we all get a sense that we're very sort of holy and sovereign and, like, you know, kind of special beings, because we all are equally as special as each other because we're all God, so of course we are. And we all kind of like intuitively sense that we're, you know, that we have this magnificent heritage. But because of the limitations and the conditioning of the third dimension, we're all waiting. We're waiting for someone to give our sovereignty to us. We're waiting for some angelic being or some guru or someone to just like pop out of the higher dimension to say, I see you, you're a high and holy divine being, I see you, I recognise your aura, I recognise your light, here you go, here's the crown that Mother, Father, God created for you, I'm going to plonk it on your head. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen like that. But that is the job of the ego, is to always be waiting for that. You know, and I know this because I'm speaking from direct experience, you know, but what you have to do is, like, one day you have to, like, the shit has got to hit the fan on such a massive level, and you've got to go into the dark night of the soul or whatever it is that's going to get you there. But, like, at some point we're all, like, brought to our knees, you know, for those of us that truly absolutely awaken, at some point we're brought to our knees and to the realisation of that no one's ever going to give it to us. No one's ever going to hand over our birthright. It's like we have to claim it. We have to step up and we have to go, that's my crown there. Mother, Father, God, place that crown in my etheric field, awaiting the day of my remembrance of my sovereignty. And you know what? Today's the day. Today's the day, as I was going to go and get that crown that has been kept very nicely and very safely for me. I'm going to pick up that crown and I'm going to place it in its rightful place, which is on my head, which is symbolic of my remembrance of who I am as a divine, eternal, aligned, conscious, awakened being, as the offspring of Mother, Father, God. I claim my heritage. I claim my inheritance. This is what sovereignty is all about. And then this is broken down then into our belief systems. And so it's not like someone's going to come along and say, I'm really, really sorry you were born into a crappy third dimension with all this like BS and programming. So let's just give me that book of all those false limited beliefs, and I'm gonna stick that on the violet flame. And here you go, love. Here you can have just a blank slate where you can just choose your own beliefs. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're not going to ever meet anyone. The closest thing you're going to meet is me. So saying to you guys, like this is it. Like, you have to claim it. You have to be sovereign over your beliefs. And so you have to be really, really like noticing and vigilant around the limitations and the limited programming. Do you know what I mean? And then you have to go, so, or if you notice yourself saying, oh, I couldn't do that, or I can't do that, or I'm so unlucky, or whatever, like this old limited sort of like ideas, then you have to just catch yourself and go, hold a minute, am I choosing that? Am I choosing that thought? Because if I'm choosing that thought and I'm thinking that thought and speaking that thought, I as a creative being have been given the power to create based on what I think and what I say. And so, like, if you're going to like put that out to the universe, like, you will create that. And it's like, you don't want to be creating that. You want to be really, really getting some sort of like observation and vigilance around your thoughts and around these beliefs that are allowed to sort of like get in there, you know. And the whole point of being a sovereign being is that we choose our thoughts, we choose our beliefs, we choose to affirm, we choose to play the game of like being co-creators, and so speaking as though that which we wish to manifest is already manifest. Do you know what I mean, guys? Just going to see if anyone does actually know what I mean. The other group, as we claim it, it helps. Is there anything we can do as parents to help instill sovereignty to our children? Okay, all right, so thank you for sharing your beautiful, thank you for holding space, yes. Okay, so it's a really, really good question. And that was actually a question that came up in, oh God, where is it? Because remember I asked a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh guys, has anyone got any questions that they want to, you know, that I can address in a live video? And one of the questions that came up was from Kirsten, and she said, a subthread currently on a post has a lot of us with children who have really been emotionally unstable and going off the rails. We don't know how to help them and looking for support. Maybe good to talk about, Jen, or even a good topic to start a new post about. So that kind of relates to what Judy's saying about, is there anything that we can do to parents to help instill sovereignty in our children? Well, first of all, we can be having this conversation. We can be, you know, it can be explaining about the 3D matrix and about how it's basically built upon this idea of limitation and limited ideas about who we are as a species, kind of thing. So we can just speak about that, and just because the thing is, our children, they're much, much closer to source energy. Sorry about this, guys, but our children are much, much closer to source energy, and they haven't really gone into adulthood yet with all the intense barrage of like deprogramming, and so they're still quite ripe to be activated. So there are certain things that we can say to them that will awaken those codes of spiritual remembrance within them. So I think just having this conversation with them of like, well, this is what I've learned as a parent, this is what I've learned, that, you know, that actually we're multidimensional beings, and that this 3D consciousness, this is like a radio station, and we've all been really, really sort of like indoctrinated to believe that this is the only radio station on the radio. But lo and behold, there's an infinite number of other radio stations that our consciousness has been created and designed to attune to. So, and then you can speak about like what your understanding of fifth dimensional consciousness is pure unity consciousness, is the consciousness of oneness, of kindness, of love, of service, and that is actually another frequency band that your consciousness was designed to be able to attune to. So just having these basic conversations, maybe showing your son or your daughter, Judy, this video where we're dealing specifically with this issue. And I connect really, really well with young people. They know that I'm like, you know, I'm really like pure and a good soul, and so the transmission is very, very easy with young people if they meet me. And so you could always just show them this video. But I also, what I wanted to say to Kirsten about, you know, one of the really strong parenting tips that I would like to pass on is that, like, for example, when I was breastfeeding my son and it was time for him to no longer be breastfed, what I did was I called on his higher self 3 times. I said, I call upon your higher self, I call upon your higher self, I call upon your higher self. And then I just had a conversation with my son's higher self, like just kind of like soul to soul. It wasn't like patronizing or anything like that. I just said, the time now, you're a big boy now, and it's time that, you know, that you had your own milk and whatever it is, whatever just comes naturally from your own heart. But I just explained to him and I prepared him for the fact that we were no longer going to be having this relationship where he was breastfed. And then when I went to actually stop breastfeeding him, it was so easy. Like, he didn't even bat an eyelid, because his higher self was prepared and was, you know, was brought on board with this. And I've applied this to my whole sort of journey as a parent. I mean, obviously now he's a teenager, I can have like these really full-on conversations with him, but especially when he was younger. But I think it can apply also to teenagers as well. If your child's going off the rails, you can call their higher self and you can just have a very frank, very honest conversation with them. And what I noticed in this top tip is that the higher self, the soul consciousness of the child, is so desperate to be communicated with in this manner. It's so desperate to be acknowledged that this being is more than just this 3-year-old or 5-year-old or 10-year-old, that actually this being is a vessel of infinite consciousness. It's so kind of like desperate to be acknowledged as that in my experience, when that occurs, the messages get through very, very quickly and very, very receptively. Because they want us to communicate in this way, and this is all part of the new paradigm of how we relate to each other. You know, is through we communicate on a soul-to-soul basis, so higher self to higher self, where there is just absolute pure unity, and it really, really works. I mean, God, it's a top tip. It really, really is a top tip. So I like the radio station analogy. I find the challenge of speaking in a language they get. Give them this video, Judy. Give them this video, hun. They'll like me. Kids like me. Let me just put this video. Just keeps going like well wonky. So this also brings me into something that Spirit guided me to speak about. And it's about like our relationships, our interpersonal relationships with each other, and understanding that in the old paradigm, in the 3D paradigm, most relationships are built upon this idea of colluding into our victimness. So like, woe is me, I've got this ailment, oh, he's such a bee, whatever, you know, like it's like a lot of our relationships have been created so that we can keep on empowering our victim timelines. And I personally think it's really time that we all become aware of that, and we all become aware of our relationships. Like, why are we choosing to be in relationships with certain people? And for sure there are going to be certain people that you have in your life that you can go to and just moan, and that's okay. Like, there is a space for moaning, but I believe it has to be done in a held and a conscious way, not in a way that you are both massively identifying with that narrative, that victim moany narrative. So for example, you know, you could say, like, you could call upon a friend and say, you know, I'm feeling really, really upset. I'm feeling really, really triggered by my son at the moment, and I would like us to open up a safe portal for us to have this, you know, have this conversation, and then I would like to invoke the violet flame. Do you know what I mean? So if you need to have a conversation with someone to offload a lot of your like angst or whatever, you can do it in a way that is actually like a conscious way, where you're having that conversation of like, this isn't my truth, I'm not fully identified with this, but this is an energy that has to move through me. Do you know what I mean? This is an energy that has to move through me. And so I'm asking you to come forward and hold space as this energy moves through me. But let's please invoke the violet flame so that it can be transmuting. Do you know what I mean, guys? So what the message is like, become really sort of like aware of your relationships with your friends and your parents and your kids or whatever. And just notice, or like, just remember, it's just so important that we use our time together to really like uplift each other, and to use our times together as an opportunity to grow and to expand spiritually. So So, you know, I really believe that part of the new paradigm sort of like communication is where we come together in a very childlike way to, like say for example, I want to manifest a really beautiful white house on top of a hill. And so what I'll do is I'll call I believe this is where we're going with our communication, but I would call upon my friends and say, you know, do you want to play this game, this manifesting game? And then we would just sort of like play act that it's already happened, that I've got the house, I'm moving in, I'm getting all the stuff together, and then your friend is kind of like really, really empowering that timeline with her intention and her awareness and her consciousness. Do you know what I mean? But we can apply this to all the different areas of our life in which we wish to manifest something. And that's why it comes back to this idea of like that quote about, you know, I can't remember the quote, but you know, it's like ultimately we have to become childlike again. Like as we become more and more childlike, our vibration gets higher and higher and purer and purer. And then the higher and the purer the vibration, the much more easier it is for us to manifest on the physical plane. So it's like a lot of it is about coming back to that childlike essence of just kind of like playing with each other. And but yeah, I just want us all to just be aware about that, and just take a little inventory of your relationships, and just, you know, just notice whereby, you know, you go towards certain people to have a really, really good moan, and to have this to empower this narrative of woe is me. Now that's fine. We live in a free will universe. Like you can do that. You have absolutely free will to do that. But just know, like, that as you're empowering that narrative, you are like a magnet that is like magnetizing more of those challenging experiences. And do you really want that? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. So at the end of the day, the message is about us taking responsibility about what we say and what we speak and how we show up in our relationships. Do you know what I mean? That's the message, guys. I hope that's inspiring. I hope that kind of like drops a few codes for some of you, and you know, that it sort of, you know, activates a few memories, soul memories of who we are, because, you know, this third dimensional realm will have us believe that, you know, we're these limited, unpowerful beings, and absolutely, like, nothing could be further from the truth. Like, we are like one of the most powerful beings in the whole entire like multiverse, and there's about a trillion other beings in the universe, but human beings are so ridiculously next level powerful, and we have these you know, these bodies that are inbuilt with these technologies, you know, that are able we're able to teleport, bilocate, we can like move objects, we can walk through walls. Like, there's no limitations except the ones that we believe and the ones that we speak. So the whole point of this video is just to remind all of us, and remind myself as well, because I'll watch this video again, to be very, very vigilant, and remember that everything that we say and everything that we speak is what we are creating. So if you're cool with that, then carry on. If not, then just, this is where we apply our sovereignty, you see. We apply our sovereignty into the thoughts that we allow ourselves to think on some level, and being vigilant about like very, very limited beliefs, and also in what we speak. So that's the message. I'll just see if there's one more question. Hey Jen, looking good and appreciate the advice. Oh, thanks Raubin. Cheers, bruv. Alright, so I'll just see if there's another psychic protection and timelines. Wendy has wanted me to mention a little bit about psychic protection. Okay, so I personally work with psychic protection every single day. Not a day goes by where I do not invoke psychic protection. And so what I do, and I think it's, personally I think it's really, really important. That's my guidance. Obviously you all have to go with your own guidance. I can only give my guidance. And my guidance is to work with psychic protection every single day. And so what I do is I call upon Archangel Michael 3 times. In my morning meditation, I call upon Archangel Michael 3 times, and then I visualize him coming and giving me like a suit of armor. And this suit of armor, it kind of makes me a bit invisible on the 3rd dimension, because I have to be able to move freely as the light being that I am. I have to be able to move freely without all the bureaucracy and BS of the 3rd dimension. And so it enables me to kind of like, also I personally invoke a cloak of invisibility, but with within the 3D bureaucratic realm. Like, I want to be invisible. This is just me personally, right? But I want to be invisible within that 3D bureaucratic realm, because it doesn't serve me to be on their radar. Because I as a multidimensional awakened being, I have to be able to move freely without the encumberedness of the just like atrocious control of the 3rd dimension. So I invoke a suit of armor. And then I invoke the blessings of the fox medicine, which is invisibility. And then I visualize a bubble of light, of protection, and I see myself step inside the bubble of protection, and then I zip it closed, like I seal it closed, and then I allow myself to sit in that bubble of protection, and I allow it to just really, really activate this massive seal, so of pure light, of the highest love and the highest light. And I just set my vessel, I set it at that vibration for the whole entire day, so that it's not vulnerable. My field, my auric field is not vulnerable to any lower frequencies. And it really, really works. So that's something about psychic protection. I'll just see if there's any questions or comments about that. On that one, as a boss, I know drains my energy. Thank you, Jen. Why am I having such a bad headache? When I sit to connect and meditate back at my... Okay, so with the headache, I'll just say a couple of things. First of all, a lot of people are getting headaches at the moment, and this is due to the intense shift in the photonic light patternings. So we've had a shift. The photonic light that is dispensed from Galactic Central has certain geometric patterns, but they've recently upgraded and they've changed, and they're more intense. And so these light particles, they interact with our DNA, and basically what it's doing is it's sort of like burning up a lot of the 3rd dimensional dross. And it's doing a lot of work with turning on our dormant DNA strands. But because of the patterning of the photonic light particles, it's very depleting for our hydration and our salts. So it's very important at times like this that coconut water is very, very good, but sometimes even coconut water doesn't do it. But I go onto electrolytes. Like if I go for a little period of getting headaches for a while, I'll go onto electrolytes, and I'll just take about 6 to 8 electrolytes for about 2 days, and that will just get rid of the headaches. And also I work with these salts, these 12 cell salts, which I'll post the link. But this is also very, very good for keeping our, I don't know what the word is it homeostasis of the body? Because as we're in these ascension gateways, it's very, very taxing and draining on particular elements in our body. And so it's just really important that we stay up to sort of like keep level with our salt intake. So I hope that's good. And also another thing is that like my friend Maria, she came to my house a couple of weeks ago, and she'd had a really bad headache. And I said to her, sit down, Maria, and she sat down, and I got my crystal bowl, and I started playing the crystal bowl around her head, and then I asked her to visualize all of this energy going into her root chakra, because what it is the energy is going up so high, it's all getting kind of locked in the sort of like the cranial area, you know, and it's like what you have to do, you have to use the power of your intention to diffuse the intensity, and you need to bring the energy back down into the base. You know, so just focus on your base chakra. This will get rid of your headache, brothers and sisters. Literally, like there's so many different angles now that we've dealt with about how to deal with the headaches. So that should do the trick. That should do the trick. Obviously, one more last thing about the headaches is that headaches are very often related to emotions as well. So definitely check in with your inner self about what they're really feeling right now. Maybe do a bit of journaling. Maybe just contact your inner child. She might be really feeling quite lonely right now. She might be just like, oh, this planet, or, you know, she might be feeling really lonely right now. So I would just invite you to check in with your inner child, because a lot of the root of these headaches is to do with emotions, electrolytes. All right, brothers and sisters. So the electrolytes, these are just, it's just a product. It's called rehydration salts, and they electrolyze the body. They just like where the body has been depleted with its salts, they recorrect it. That's what it means. Okay, is there any other questions? Cleaning up. Carissa says, 100% confirmation of my thinking today, Jen, about relationships and prep cleaning up surroundings for the future. Yeah, it's really important going forward now that we are vigilant about how we show up in our relationships, and that we are aware that there are old paradigm ways of relating and there are new paradigm ways of relating. Where are you? Where are you on that spectrum? Where am I? My 9-year-old daughter just said about me, I like the juju that you do. And then of you, and she does that juju. I do, Julie's daughter, I do the juju. Wow, the crystal bowl is a good advice. Sure, we'll focus on the base chakra. Thank you very much. Brilliant, that's fine. Okay, so protection. So here's another one. Jen, I'm asking if you can talk about protection and shielding. It's very important at this time to be grounded and shield. Yes, that's another thing. Every single day, it's very, very important at times like this that we are meditating every single day. It is absolutely imperative. And really, really, it is no longer an option, specifically for people in this group that are really, really stepping up as the new paradigm leaders and the way showers of the new earth. We need to be meditating. We need to be having at least a minimum of a 20-minute meditation practice every single day. It's absolutely imperative, because you know, otherwise the monkey mind will just go crazy on you, just go crazy, you know. And so when we meditate, it's like we just become the observer, and we realize, oh wow, the monkey mind is just so monkeying. That's what it does, it just monkeys around, you know. But I'm just this silent, observing presence. And this is where all of your power lies. This is where all of your connection to source energy lies. It does not lie in the samsaric monkey mind, it lies in the meditation. So it's very important every day that everyone meditates. And then in your meditation, I would say it's very important to have a spiritual protection practice, what we just talked about. And also very, very, very important for you to ground your energies every single day. But when you're grounding, ground into the new earth. So we are empowering the new 5th dimensional earth grid, okay? And shield. Some of us have problems with sleeping because of this intense healing journey. Tips for sleeping better. Thank you. Ooh. Ooh, I don't know about that. I'll have to come back to that. Channel whatever message coming from the higher source. Read about the Albion template and understanding. It's activating now. Okay, so Linda wants us to speak about the Albion template and understand, and it is said to be activating now, and it is calling the inner Avalon. Here are 2 pieces I've come up upon, and any enlightenment would be most welcome. Awakening Albion, energetic synthesis, and unity grace. Oh, that's interesting, because when I was hanging out with Michael and Ron and Amanda Lawrence, they kept on talking about unity grace, and here it is the connection. So I'll connect with unity grace. Wow, I think we'll get on. So the Avalon connection, well, I did speak about this in I think it was the 7/7 transmission, where I'd received information which was actually connected to energetic synthesis, Lisa Renee, actually. And it was through her on some level that I received this information, that specifically the ley lines that were running through Avalon and the ley lines that were running through the Cathar region in the south of France had been particularly manipulated, as these ley lines were the most sort of like empowered ley lines to do with, or the most significant ley lines in terms of empowering the Divine Union template. So, and what I understand about Avalon is that I live in Avalon, I live in Glastonbury, and there's like a really, really strong priestess tradition here, which I'm definitely part of. I'm part of that lineage. So what I'm remembering about Avalon is that in Avalon, this is where the Grail secrets were held, really. The Grail mysteries were stored safely in Avalon. And this was to do with the ceremony of the Hieros Gamos ceremony, which is the Divine Sacred Union ceremony. So these ceremonies used to happen, like, you know, I don't know, I guess it was around the sort of 12th century, 11th century, around that time. But Avalon was like really sort of, was the place where you would go to unfathom the mysteries of the Holy Grail and to experience the Hieros Gamos ceremony. So the Hieros Gamos is to do with the sacred union of our own Kundalini energy. So we have the Ida and the Pingala, which are the two serpent snakes, or you could say dragons as well, at the base of the spine. And then through one's own sort of like enlightenment and self-mastery initiation journey, or the hero's journey, the heroine's journey, there will be a point where those sleeping serpents will be stirred and prodded, and they will wake up at the base of the spine. And in that moment where they awaken at the base of the spine, they sort of like look at each other and go, oh, there you are. And then they rush together in divine sacred union. And they go like that, and in that merge, they then begin the ascent up the spine throughout all of the energy centers, cleaning, clearing, purging, all of the limited beliefs, all of the false programming throughout all of the energy centers. But what happens is, as that energy merges at the base of the spine, it goes, the dormant Kundalini represents duality consciousness, represents third dimensional consciousness, represents a sleep consciousness. But when the Kundalinis have awoken and they have come together, this represents unity consciousness. This represents the sacred marriage, the marriage of the self with God, and the masculine and feminine energies within one's own self have been brought together in sacred remembrance. And that is the Hieros Gamos. That is the Hieros Gamos, brothers and sisters. It's the sacred inner alchemical marriage of your own masculine and feminine energies. But it's my understanding that at the time of Avalon, the priestesses, they would be trained, you know, to be like high-level tantrikas, basically. And it's my understanding that there would be, I guess they would be Grail Knights, and that the priestesses would then unite with their divine counterparts. That would just be part of their destiny, that they would come into the vicinity of their divine counterparts, and then they would meet and merge in Avalon, and they would reenact the Hieros Gamos ceremony. So back to Linda's question, this particular point, I believe, you know, many people also say that Glastonbury is the New Jerusalem, and I believe that this again is to do with the Grail codes. And it's about the flowering of the remembrance of the consciousness of sacred union. And I believe that is like really, really sort of like predestined to happen in Avalon. And that's people like why people like myself, and there are many other, like, you know, people that are very, very much connected to the Grail mysteries, are drawn to this place. And this is why I'm going to be running my retreat in Avalon, and we're going to be tapping into that deep, deep ancient wisdom. But unfortunately my retreat's now sold out, brothers and sisters, but there'll be other ones. And actually, I just want to say, yesterday I've been hanging out with Michael and Ron from Transformation, and they are the most amazingly beautiful angelic brothers, like, I think, that I've ever met. And like, oh, I just love them so much. They're such beautiful, beautiful souls. And we just clicked on such deep level, like, and so we were speaking about this idea of possibly co-creating a retreat in Mount Shasta around 11:11. So I'm just putting that out there. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but I know I have a lot of people in America that follow my work, and so yeah, there is a chance that the three of us are going to be co-creating, co-facilitating a retreat in Mount Shasta around the 11:11. So we'll let you all know about that. Just go back to see if there's any. What about extreme? Good morning from New York. Good morning. Why do you think I have more pain with my arthritis today than I did before? Hi Jen, do you claim any religion? I do not claim any religion, no. Would you give us your first steps of exercise for awakening apart from the meditations that we do? So the first steps for awakening is committing to a practice of gratitude, because when we choose to focus on something that we are grateful for, that simple act is communicating to our egoic consciousness that you're no longer in control, because my sovereign self is choosing what to be focused on right now. And I'm choosing to be grateful about my mum. I'm choosing to be grateful that I'm so blessed to have such a beautiful mother who is just so kind and is just so attentive and so nurturing and just such a beautiful soul to me. Like, I'm choosing to focus on that, you see. And so in that moment where I'm choosing to focus on that, my egoic consciousness has not got me pulled down this road of like old limited beliefs and programmings and you can't do this and you know, nothing ever, like all of this sort of like negative narrative, you know what I mean? So to commit to a practice of gratitude is so ridiculously accelerating. Like, for all of you beloveds that are just sort of starting out on your spiritual path, commit to a practice of gratitude. For myself, I'm like, whatever I'm doing, I just remind myself to be grateful. Like, say for example, I've got to walk up the road. As I'm walking up the road, I'll say to myself, right, 10 things to be grateful for. And I'll really get into it. I'll really like go into depth. And so it's like I'm choosing as a sovereign being where to focus my energy, and I'm choosing to channel it along positive channels. Do you know what I mean? And another thing that I do is that I'm always really, really kind. So whenever I go out, like I just think, right, this is an opportunity for me to be really, really lovely to every single person that comes into my field. And so I'm going to connect with them, I'm going to send positive vibrations to them, I'm going to uplift them, I'm going to maybe make them laugh, I'm going to look into their eyes, but I'm going to leave them uplifted. So that is my intention as I leave the house. Like, I am like a beacon of positive energy, do you know what I mean? And so I just basically go out, and this is absolutely amazing for raising your vibration and for keeping your vibration very, very stabilised. So that's a couple of top tips. What do you mean, Robert? Your key is written in your DNA. I don't know what you mean, bruv. What do you mean? Why do you think I have more pain with my arthritis today? I think maybe, Andrea, that the reason why you have more arthritis today is because I believe the message that I'm picking up on is that your inner child, your little girl, your beautiful little Andrea, she's just feeling a bit ignored, and I feel like she's using the pain to get your attention. So if I was you, I would just like go into meditation, and I would visualize little Andrea just sitting on a chair, and I would just walk over to her, and I would stand under her, and I would just say, and I would just start a dialogue with her, and I would say to her, like, I'm really sorry if you feel like I've been ignoring you. You know, what can I do for you? Like, what can we do today that like is really good fun? And just start a dialogue with her. I think that will help you with your arthritis symptoms. Okay, so Robert has said, to activate your potential, it is already within you. Everything you need is within. You are your own master. Absolutely. Oh, got it, yeah. That's very, very insightful, Robert. Yes, I like your thinking. Okay, any more questions? So, does anyone feel salts like liquid flow from the cheek inner? Also, I got a swelling on the lower cheek. No, don't know about that. Great, thank you. We'll take the extra salts. What about extreme fatigue? I think for extreme fatigue, I think you've just got to rest. You just got to rest. And when you're resting, I would be working, like if it's like becoming a little bit of a problem, this extreme fatigue, what I would do is I would just go on my bed and I would just rest. and then I would just start doing a little bit of work on my solar plexus. And so for myself personally, I might write some light language symbols, or I might do some light language. Or if I wasn't confident to do light language, I would like visualize my solar plexus energy as like a dot. And then with my out breath, I would imagine the solar plexus just expanding and expanding and expanding. And as it is expanding, it is energizing me. It is energizing all of my cells. It is healing me. So it's like really, really working with this inner technology to activate our own healing and our own well-being. And this is also one of the greatest lies that has been sort of like force-fed to us, that, you know, that and of course there is a place for doctors, don't get me wrong, there is a place for doctors, but, you know, ultimately we are all empowered to heal ourselves via our own consciousness. You know, ultimately, like, but you have to believe that. If you don't believe you can heal yourself with your own consciousness, then don't just kind of like eradicate doctors and healers. You know, you have to believe it, you have to know it, but it is the truth. Anything else? Salutations, miss. I'm feeling under the weather right now and need to go to work. Oh, well, thanks a lot for letting us know about that, Michelle. Right, I'm just going back to this other... All right, so Jenny says, talk about how to deal with different energy like vibration, hot flushes, electronic shifts, shocks and mood shifts. I think if you're going through a lot of like really, really radical sensations such as like vibration, hot flushes, electronic shocks and mood shifts, to me that would like suggest that there is a little bit of overactivity within your nervous system. And so I would be doing some meditations to like really, really settle my nervous system. And so you can just intend it. You can just intend for that, for your nervous system to settle. And you can say to your higher self, please can you show me a colour that I can work with that will settle my nervous system. And then your higher self might give you this like, you know, mint green or beautiful peach colour. Then trust that. Just trust that and then work with it. But to me, that would suggest that there is a little bit of overstimulation in a particular, in your nervous system. Okay, allow more. I think that's it then. I think that's it. Oh, that's all the questions then, beloveds. So, was that really it? I think that's it. Yeah, that is it. Okay, so that's about it. Can't stop the tingling on my third eye since being a tuna going vegan. Hoping, yes, you're on the right path, love. Definitely, Virginie. Yeah, tingling third eye is very, very good. How would you go about unblocking psychic abilities? I set the intention that I wanted them gone last year. Now I feel shut out. I set the intention that I wanted them gone. Well, you're just going to have to set the intention that you want them back, Elena. This is something that I would have to look at more in a one-to-one session, as it will take over the whole thing if I was to explain about that. Should we fast and go vegan? I think you should just listen to your own body. There's no one, it's not my job to say you should do this or you should do that. I think what everyone should do is really listen to their own bodies and remember that you are sovereign, you are a Christ consciousness vessel, and you have all of the wisdom and all of the intelligence and guidance that you need to navigate this terrain and to ensure that you are functioning in an optimum, in an optimum vessel. So many great tips. Good morning, lovely souls. I think, all right, that's it. Can't stop the thing. So that's it, brothers and sisters. Oh, it's 12:12, 1 hour exactly. Okay, so this is it. This is the morning video, and thank you all so much for tuning in. And I hope it's been helpful. I hope it's been, you know, my intention with these videos is to activate your own remembrance, so that like all of these codes that like can just come online and bring your own consciousness, so that you are the masterful being, you are the leader, you are the one that's able to masterfully navigate this dimension. Because it's not about, this is like the new paradigm is not about like leaders and gurus and teachers anymore. It's about us all realizing we are all leaders, we are all teachers, we are all masters. You know, and that's certainly not my job, and I absolutely do not want that job, and I will not take that job. I am sovereign over my own self, I'm master over my own self, And I just hope and pray that in that alignment, that the words that I speak can activate that mastery and remembrance within you. That's it. So I'm going to post this video on YouTube now, brothers and sisters. It's 12:14 in the UK. Woke up to a lot of rain, so that's all good. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I look forward to connecting with you all in the week. And yeah, let's just keep the vibe super high in the group. Let's be very, we've got loads and loads of new people joining us, brothers and sisters. So it's very important, if we get any sort of like low frequency energies coming into the comments, please like flag it up and report any sort of like weirdness, or if anyone's rude or if anyone's horrible. Like, we just don't tolerate it in this group. It's absolutely 100% unacceptable. Only kindness, only love is acceptable in this group. So if you notice an energy where there is not love and there is not kindness, it is all of our responsibility to share that. Do you know what I mean? Love how your energy increases and you light up as continue to chat. So yeah, just keep sharing stuff that's going to be really exciting and really like will just raise everyone's vibrations. And don't like everyone. You know, we don't generally post live videos unless we know that person and we know that person is like broadcasting from a very impeccable frequency. We're not going to let live videos, so don't bother posting them all the time. Shaman's been manically taking notes. Thank you for your wisdom. Well, I hope it all helps, and let me know how, you know, if it helps, if you apply all this. But there's been a lot of top tips there, brothers and sisters, and that's it. So many Monday morning blessings to all of you. I've got a beautiful day ahead. Emily says, thank you for covering all of this and making this group so pure and amazing. Thank you, Emily, for being part of this group, sister. So sending you all so much love and infinite light, and just remember who you are. We are all divine beings. We are all God beings. There are no limitations except the ones that you believe. So just focus, and may your meditation be to become an empty vessel, because all of God's greatest instruments are empty. The guitar's empty, the flute's empty, the drum's empty. We must all become empty so that we can be channels of the grace of the divine.